Trademark. Ready?
Here we go.
I'm Dave.
I'm Sean.
Welcome to Barstools
and Bandtalk. We're back again. And I don't know if you heard Dave and I arguing there before. If you did, great. That's the beauty of what we do. We don't give a crap, and seems to work. So there you go. I'm going to let Dave do the official introduction, but I tell you, we are so excited to have this man on. This is a guy that Dave and I, way back when we first got to play in the bar, he was in a band that we get to open for. Get to learn an awful lot from this guy. Super talented. He's gone on to become a teacher, still playing, still looks amazing, still sounds amazing, and we're really excited to have him on.
It's true. I mean, Willy Dobson is one of our best friends in the world in the music industry for maritime music. And for Sean and I, like I said, in the days when we first started, he was a big mentor to us. And he's just such an authentic, genuine soul who just oozes of caring and just he's just a great human. And we're really glad to have him on the show because we like great humans. We're all about great humans here at Barstools and Bandtalk. Without further ado, Mr. Willy Dobson. There he is in living color.
There he is. Hey.
Hey, sir.
How are you, brother?
What's going on?
Man, we're just so excited to have you here, Willy. Yeah, there it is. Now this, to be honest, is 3 weeks in the making. Fair? 3 weeks in the making. I've been trying to get you on this show.
I know, that's my bad. It's a busy time of year at school, so I appreciate the patience.
Tell us what you've been up to, brother.
Trying to finish up the school year, which has been a new thing for all the teachers. Not doing like it's called e-learning, but it's basically just, teaching from here, teaching kids at home, sending them stuff, trying to keep in contact with them. It's been completely different. The school I'm at has been absolutely fantastic. I don't know if any of you seen it. I released a song and a video that I wrote for the school that I'm at. I was asked to join and maybe just come up with a song we could pick to send to our students because we miss them so bad. I went online, the four of us, we tried to find something, couldn't find anything. I took it upon myself to write a song about everything that these awesome teachers that I work with every day at Highland Park Junior High bring to the school. I wrote it, I passed it in to them, see when they thought of it. They went for it. Mr. Jared, our tech teacher, put a video to it to bring the music vision to life, and it kind of saved me. It was so great for my mental health over the last little while. That's what I've been up to lately. Working on a couple other projects too with some IB students that I had when I taught at Cole Harbour High. Music teachers, they've asked for my collaboration. So keeping busy musically and teaching every day and just trying to get through this like everybody else.
I hear you, brother. So we might hop around here a little bit. So obviously Dave and I first got to meet you when you were playing in Drama, which was a great band. But I tell you, my favorite Willy Dobson project was Gorilla.
Oh, yeah.
I love that band. I used to go, well, obviously you were singing a lot of lead, but it was yourself, Ivor Jones, Neil McKinnon, and probably my favorite local drummer ever, which was Brett Pizzanza.
Yes, man.
Seriously, I mean, he just changed the way and just such a nice guy. But that was such a cool band. You guys moved a lot of air for four guys on the stage. It was fun to watch.
It was so much fun. Again, working with one of the past guys you had on, Brian Norman, he would record us and working with Brett and being a bass player. And it's just, I've been so lucky to work with so many awesome drummers, and Brett Pizzanza was definitely one of them. Laid back in the pocket, he made my job so much easier. And to be able to play and sing at the same time, but locking in a groove with him, it was just a fun band. We always had fun. It was always a good response. It was a good gig. And Brian taped us one night, and he used to pick me up because I'd be working. I had two small children then, so I was working at the Canadian Conservatory. Just started working at the Canadian Conservatory, and I would get up and I'd be with the kids all day, which was awesome. And then I'd go to work around 3:30, 4 o'clock at the conservatory, leave the conservatory around 9 or 9:30 and go play at the Crazy Horse. So Brian would drive me at times, and he put in this cassette one night, and he was like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "This is amazing. I didn't even know this. Is this a Deep Purple like live album or something?" And it was us doing Highway Star.
Yeah.
Wow.
And no matter how tired I was when I got, and we started with that, which was and still is my absolutely favorite sound in the entire world. We would finish that song. Neil and Ivor did an awesome job on the lead part of that. And we usually open up with that song. And no matter how tired I was dragging my ass to the Crazy Horse after a lack of sleep, that song always just pumped you up. There was no escape after that song was over. You were ready to go. So yeah, good memories with that band. Some great players.
Absolutely.
You kind of blew me away with that band anyhow, because again, from Rashawn's and I, the onset to the music industry, like Drama was really our mentors. Like I said, we were on tour with you guys for the university. And we did some other, at the Palace. That was Sean and I were both underage. Well, actually, he was. I think I might have just turned age. But I mean, that was our introduction to the music. But you guys are so kind and so patient and so talented. Like I said, it's funny because to see the different roles there, because y'all did some harmony, but Peter was the singer. I mean, when I saw you with a girl, I was like, oh my God, Willie can sing. What can't he do? Holy God in heaven, you know.
God bless you, man. You're very kind. Yeah, it was a very nice group of individuals. For band fights, very few. There'd be the odd disagreement. We'd be locked up. They were a pleasure to write with. I mean, I have no complaints. It's how I went out in my career. My son was born in December, and we had a final drama tour in Puerto Rico for January, February, and March. And we went away, and it was a nice way to go out with those gentlemen. Like, they were all A1 guys. Creighton Doan, great drummer. I mean, Steve on keyboards. Everybody could sing. They were talented. They had something different to bring. It was, I don't ever remember a bad gig with that band. There was always people. Back in the day when you could play 7 nights a week.
Yes.
Right.
And we lived a lot in Quebec, so my French got very good in that band. The drama.
Drama.
So Dave and I were out at Big Leagues one night, Willie, and sitting there, I can't remember who we were watching, and this girl comes up to me. I'm like, and whatever, and she goes, "Do you know Willy Dobson?" And I don't remember her name, but she was a girl that used to teach piano to.
Okay.
And she went on for about 10 minutes about what a great teacher you were. I didn't say a word. I was like, yep, sounds exactly like Willie. Anyway, you taught her piano, I believe.
Yes.
And it was a cool conversation because I hadn't seen you. This is the first time I've talked to you in a long time. But it was just like, wow, it's really neat to see somebody who's probably 10 years younger than me still have the same opinion that I have of Willy Dobson. So it says a lot about you that you're a good guy.
To be truthful, the last 10 years, the last 30 years, working at the Canadian Conservatory, doing the summer rock program. When I became a teacher for HRCE, I always had Mr. Dobson's jam band with the kids. I'd put together kids and we'd jam at lunchtime or after school. I always had a teacher band at all the schools, and it was just so much fun to get these guys together and teach them how to play. That's been the buzz for me, like the last 30 years teaching. I cannot say enough about the summer rock program for preparing me for where I am at today. And oh my God, the people I got to work with, like Mike Farrington, Brad Conrad, just to name a few.
Yeah.
Bruce Chapman was our leader then, and I stole a lot of stuff from him. And even up to about 3 years ago, when I was playing with 40 Fingers, we'd be going up to Toronto to play, and Bruce would always stop in, and I'd have to thank him and say, "Bruce, you're responsible for where I am today." I came off the road after that Puerto Rican tour with Drama. Had no idea what I was going to do. My father-in-law, God rest his soul, said, "Did you ever think about teaching?" And I was like, "No, never." And I went in and I talked to Bruce. We had a great conversation for almost like an hour and a half, and he gave me that opportunity to teach. So the last 10 or 12 years, my focus and buzz that I get is from from teaching for HRCE and just having the kids in at lunchtime, and even the teacher bands that I have. I just love to teach music. It gives me that buzz. But that's cool. Thank you, Sean, for mentioning it.
Yeah.
It's a few, because I don't know if you follow these threads and all, Willie, and you may even link it to the party with the Barstools and Bandtalk website. But there was a thread that went on and on and on and on. It was like, I thought it was the Willy Dobson show. It was unbelievable. I said, okay, I'll do my very best to get Willie on there. But so many people, you touched so many people's lives, Willie, in that career that you've had. Actually, you know what? Let's start there for a second. Because one band that kind of threw me off you started your first band out of Amherst. Is that right? What was your first band?
Yes, yeah, Blitz. My first touring band. Yeah, that was so much fun. It was, I graduated high school. My dear mother, God rest her soul, wanted me out of trade. So I went to what was called vocational school then. It wasn't like what it's called today. So I went and I got my electronics degree, and then meet with these guys. And we go out on the road. We had some great management, and all of a sudden we're opening up for like Down Child Blues Band, you know, and we got off to a great start. And I don't know if you want to put this in later or not, but we're playing in Moncton, and we're playing Long John Baldry. We're opening up for Long John Baldry. And we end up sharing a dressing room with the strippers that were also at this club. So here I am, I'm like 20, 21 years old. I'm opening up for these acts. We're rolling. Like, what else? Where can we go from here? But down. But no, Blitz was a lot of fun to start with. They were all over guys. There'd been guys that had been on the road before me, and they kind of took me under their wing and showed me how it's done. And up until that point, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to play music, but I had no direction at all. But getting in that band with them, they taught me responsibility, show up on time, learn my parts. Like, they actually, like the old, sound cliche, but rock and roll saved my life. And got me on.
I love it.
Yeah. And some direction. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's interesting too, the wood education and vocational school, because vocational schools were the dumb kids went because they couldn't get into university. Such a thing now, right? Well, after how long did you play with Blitz, and then what was the next gig after that?
Blitz happened about like I said, I went as a grade 12 special because I graduated high school, and I was playing with a band called the Wild Hill Gang, and those two guys ended up coming, and the three of us ended up playing in Blitz. But I played my high school graduation, and we were bass, drums, and keyboards. So I was sort of like the front man, but I wasn't singing or anything back then. So here I am, I'm playing my graduation with the Wild Hill Band, bass, drum, and keyboards. And don't I get to be crowned king also? So I was like, seriously, like, does it get any better than that? Your graduation, you're playing your high school. I mean, what's better than that? But yeah, we went from there, and we ended up playing a Blitz. And some of us got to go on to work with the infamous Sharon B in Rhiannon. So a lot of us moved on to there. A few of us did. The band we went through an incarnation of different singers. The fabulous Al Gadet sang in Blitz for a while. Yeah, great guy. Love him to death. It was so nice to see that interview. He's doing well. And I remember the Misty Moon memories he was talking about. But Blitz kind of morphed in with Al, and then it kind of morphed into a few members into Sharon B, which was called Rhiannon then. It wasn't called Sharon B. Sharon B was later. So we ended up in a group called Rhiannon with a few members from Blitz. And Sharon and I hit it off. Sharon and I had a great chemistry working together on stage in Rhiannon and later on in Sharon B, if you remember Sharon B.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. If we were part of that Starmaker agency, we were there.
Yeah.
The thing I remember about Sharon too, and this was before I saw her at the bar and playing and stuff, but she used to work at Micmac Mall, and she used to have the big rock chick hair like Darby Mills. And I mean, my buddies were always like, "Oh, we got to go to the mall and see where this manager works." And I remember telling her that story like later, because I had the opportunity. Oh, geez, a long time ago, we were doing a Coca conference at St. FX. and we did it with them. And we actually drove back from Antigonish with them, and it was a lot of fun. But that band, so you were in that band, because at one point, didn't that band, some of the people from that band did the old Hazen Horseman special where they went over to drama and vice versa?
Exactly. Yeah. They ended up, it was sort of like a trade-off, and oh my Jesus, we made the trade. There was a flip of bands. So the band I was in right then, I think that might have been Sharon being the Brutal Beat. I'm not sure, or which. Most of the members, we were going to do the flip over with drama. So we were practically kind of flipping singers, and we were going to go and replace Peter Ettinger's band that he had won the Battle of the Bands with and all this. So we're like, okay, and this is the Hazen Horseman thing again, right? Like, okay, it'll be great, we'll do the switch. God bless him. Hazen is a lot of things to people, but God, he took such good care of me. I like, God rest his soul. I love Hazen to death to this day, but he put us in the back of a cube van with gear from here to drive to Quebec to meet up with Peter in the dead of winter. Now, you want to talk about band fights of who was getting out of the back of that cube van to sit in the front of the cube van for like an hour? It was unbelievable. Sometimes we were just like in the back and we'd look at each other, and it was just like the movies. You'd have the mustache frozen over and like your shoulders were all frozen, your eyebrows were white. Dead of winter, like the things you do for rock and roll.
Honest to God, man, you're right. You're right. Oh, so
And
that brings us up to drama, and so, but you were with drama for what, a year, 2 years, maybe?
2 years. Yeah.
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 And that was, I mean, you guys were, that was an A band. You had the A rooms. You were all over the place.
In Quebec, it was amazing. We would play hockey arenas in Quebec.
Wow.
And we would finish and we'd come off the side of the stage, and people would be running along the glass. They didn't take the plexiglass out then. And to be honest with you, God bless the band, I do not ever remember a bad gig drama. We're playing 7 nights a week. We had a crowd every night. We were riding the wave. I mean, seriously, it was the Bon Jovi time, and we were kind of fitting that old.
You were the most handsome band on the planet. Let's be honest, Willie. The most handsome band on the planet. The 5 freaking guys. Oh my God.
We had great production. We had Junior running the show, and Billy Bootler doing sound. Like, it was a win-win situation. We came pretty close. And one of the decisions I had to make, though, when I was with them for like I think it was a little over 2 years, we had been on the road. We were doing Ontario. We were doing Quebec. I didn't go across Canada with them like a couple other bands that I did. But we got out there, and what I seemed to realize at that time in my life, it was like we were the big fish in the small pond here. Like, we ruled around here. But when we went to Quebec and Ontario, man, there was like a bunch of other bands just as good, if not better than us. At that time, it was like, damn, getting up in age. My son, my first child, was born, and it was like, what do we do from here? But what a great, I don't remember one bad gig from that. We all got along. It was well run. There was always people in the audience. It was God area, and I don't have a bad thing to say about that time in my life. Peter was fun to write with. We'd get locked up in a cabin for a week, and we'd write. And I was trying to find it today. I actually have a cassette of the demo that we recorded. I have it here somewhere. I tried to find it today, but I was outside. Beautiful day.
Aren't always broken. All right.
I was going to ask you that, Willie, because we talked to Peter a couple of weeks ago, and that was something that should have came out. I mean, we got to know those tunes really well. I remember hearing it once or twice, and I remember thinking, like, wow, this is a really good recording. What do you remember about that? And obviously, it never saw the light of day, which was unfortunate. But what do you remember about that?
What I remember most about it is it was during I don't know what year it was, but it was the playoffs were on, and Edmonton was playing Philadelphia. Big Gretzky fan. He was a huge fan of this Philadelphia player. It might have been Gary Dornhofer. I don't know, but we had some heated battles at Solar while this was going on. That's what I remember the most about it. it was a breeze to record. Everybody, we had the parts down. It was just going in and laying it down. But that's the most thing I remember is Peter hated me because I was cheering for Edmonton. And I think Edmonton came out on top for that year. I think they beat Philadelphia. Yeah.
That was Gretzky's last cup.
Yes, man. But it was that's what I remember the most, getting under Peter's skin. And oh my God, he would get so pissed off. He would just get just irate. But it was a lot of fun writing with Peter too. We wrote a tune together called Love Reaction. And I had this bass line and we came up with it and we wrote it. And I was pretty proud of that tune. So that's, yeah, I have it somewhere here on cassette, believe it or not. But yeah, it just never seen the light of day. Yeah.
Yeah. I had another question for you, more gear related, because you're going to be like, well, you're everything to everybody, but like you're for this series here, you're part of our player series too. Now, I never thought a Steinberger looked really cool. I always kind of thought it looked like a pocket fisherman to me. And you played one, my friend Todd Harry played one, and then I actually picked up Glendon McBurney's when I was playing in a band with Glendon McBurney. I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing. I couldn't believe how well I love that bass. So now I get it. Was that your only bass like through all these years, or what did you play mainly?
Hang on one second.
Okay.
Here he goes. Here he goes. Get ready for it, kids.
The pocket fisherman, huh?
You can hear the crickling and crackling in the background.
And probably could have.
We're all about big the show. We're all about
big reveals. Oh, I hear it. I know what that is.
Yeah.
Ah, see. Okay.
This was the
bucks.
only bass I wanted. I had the Fender Precision. I had two Kramers at one time. I don't know if you remember them. They had the lunar neck and the split T on the top. Yep. I had two of those, and I sold everything. I sold everything I had to get one of these basses. So I get my Steinberger bass, and I'm going. And Glendon McBurney, me and him were the only ones that had one around here. So it comes in, and I start playing it, and the friggin' thing bubbles all down the back of the neck. The paint falls off. I plug in the jack cord. It goes right through the body. It was a complete disaster. The thing fell apart in my hands. I was so pissed off because back then, what you paid for these was unbelievable. So I sent it back, and they said it's going to be like 4 to 6 weeks. And then they sent me back this baby. And it's been unbelievable all these years. Still have it. Yeah, and it still sounds amazing, just as much as it did when I first bought it. Yeah, I love this bass. I've rid of a lot of gear, but I will never get rid of this. Never get rid of
50.
This.
You're gonna.
There it is.
You're gonna have.
40 ounce.
You're gonna have to crack my memory here, Will. What did you play that through?
And the old Ampeg Classic bass with the 810 cabinets.
Right.
And the Ampeg head and zero effects. Zero effects. Yeah. So I had studied classical guitar at Dal till coffee got cold. I was there. I had long blonde hair, leather jacket, the jeans with the knees up. I went and a fantastic professor. I was so about fingering tech in the little time that I was there from Dal with my music degree or anything. But I've always learned that. And when Dave messaged me one night, he says, "Man, I'm thinking about getting back into it. And you know, I loved your playing and your sound that you always had. And what do you use?" And I was like,
that was 18. Oh my God, that was 15 years ago, Willie.
Seriously, I remember that, and I was like, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but here I am. I haven't talked to Dave in so long, and how am I going to say back that I don't need effects? I just rely on finger technique, muting techniques, and you were so sweet about it, right? Like I emailed you back and said, Dave, don't take this wrong, man. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I run zero effects. It's all finger placement technique that I used when I was studying classical guitar. And you were like, okay, man. So yeah, all the years I played.
And I mean, obviously a personal preference, but I just remember, and you know, the stage sound was one thing, and then you had Bill Bootler mixing out front. I just remember Bill was just like, oh my God. He was just, he was the first sound man we got to be around that, a true story. When we were playing with you, I used to down, and Bill was saying, you got to play heel up. It's not hard enough. It's not hard enough. And I actually figured it out, and we play with you, actually play, you know, heel up on a kick drum. And
Yeah.
Bill Bootler, just little tricks that he used to tell you about.
And he was so open to share that stuff too,
Yeah.
with anybody, like gating, and like he would just share it with you. I love Bill. Hey buddy, how's it going? Everybody, yeah, what? Like, love Bill to death. Bill's A1. Yeah, one of the best.
I get to work with Bill again. Was in a band with Robbie McLean, and the first thing we did little, like, St. Louis to Ha area in Quebec, and we went out how to actually take a bottle of pop and have it not go flat on you. And it was one of my best Bill.
Very important.
It's like the MacGyver of rock and roll, right?
So tell me, Willie, so you transition into guitar at some point, and then you go back to bass again for 40 Fingers, I guess. So, like, what's your primary instrument now? Would you be still a bass player primarily? Are you a guitar player mainly? Or what are you?
To be truthful with you, that's the first time I've held a bass in my hand, just doing some recording, maybe once or twice in the last 3 years since the end of 40 Fingers. It's when back in Spring Hill in the Amherst days, I started out as a guitar player, but there was all these guitar players and no bass players. So these guys asked me, Blitz, you know, can you come? Do you play bass? And I was like, yeah. Oh, well, you want to come and play bass with us? And I was like, yeah. So then the rush was on. I had like about 6 hours to find a bass. So I bought this old Fender P bass and went and played with them. And the rest, they say, is history. They said, okay, we think you'll be able to play bass okay. But I always played guitar. I taught bass and I taught guitar at the Canadian Conservatory for 3 years. But primarily, every time I would go to start like a Willy Dobson project or something where I'd be playing guitar or writing something, I would get these awesome invites to go play with these people that I admired so much, but it would always be as a bass player. So bass, I love bass. Bass has taken me places that, you know, I never would have ever thought of going. But my love is guitar. I love guitar, but I can't deny the love of bass either. It's just taken me so many places. And of course, you know, having heroes like Geddy Lee and playing all that, the Rush stuff. And so, yeah, I love them both as much.
So what do you use for a guitar now then? So is your electric guitar, or your primary, is it a Gretsch? No, I think I saw a picture of it. No, it's a...
Yeah, I got a Gretsch that I just absolutely love. Yeah.
Black one.
Yeah, the black Gretsch. Yes, man. Wow, you've done your homework.
Well, I'm watching you, man. I'm a little borderline stalker for Willy Dobson. I'm just saying.
Borderline. He's major stalker. That's actually, we're starting to have a little bit of a problem with that with some of our guests. I don't want to mess one up, but did you do a stint with the Oakley Boys?
With who?
With the Oakley Boys or some of the guys in Oakley?
I did. They come to me, and it's Doug McKay, the original drummer from Oakley, and Richie Oakley, and himself, father figure to me, taught me to show up every night, and if you don't give 150%, you're going to get your ass kicked. So we originally started out as a trio, and we're over at Dog's place one night. It was somebody's birthday. I think it might have been Doug McKay's birthday. And we're there, and Mike was there. God rest his soul, rest in peace. Mike was always a complete gentleman to me. The guy is amazing. And we're talking, and he goes, well, you got to remember, you were like lead singer for that group for about 10 minutes. And we were this little trio, and we had started as Doug and Richie, and I was playing bass and singing the Steinberger. Our first gig was the Network Lounge, and we played around, and it just wasn't the same effect. People were waiting for that out front guy. So we ended up getting Eric Marks to sing for us. And that was the lineup for a long time too. There was the three of us, and we added Eric Marks. He was sort of a Wayne Nicholson clone. So we did that for a bit. It was sort of some points in some of the band members' lives that were not going that well, but we gave it a hell of a shot. It was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And that morphed into, when that was over, Richie, Doug, and I got to go and play with Sam for about 2 years, Sam Moon. So I've been very lucky, blessed in that respect, where one has fallen apart, it's just morphed into something else.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's what happened with the Oakley thing. But it was a lot of fun. I don't remember a lot of it, but I was told a lot of the stories and read about it. And I remember waiting outside of jails for certain members to get out of jail and shaving heads, and that was a lot of fun. And yeah, rock and roll. It was rock and roll.
It's funny, in the middle of a multi-part with Sam, and he mentioned Richie, and he had the funniest thing. He said, Richie used to say all the time, if you can't play drunk, you can't play at all.
That was pretty much it. We get up, go to breakfast in the morning, and I'll have an order of toast and 3 beer, please. And we would just go from there. But that's what you did in those days. That was the band that could party the hardest. And it was coming down from that Oakley era. And it just kind of carried on for a bit longer. And that's just the way it was. And that's what we did. And God bless, we survived the car trips and, making it back to the band house after. So we made it.
Willie, it's not a mistake that you kept getting these phone calls or that things kept morphing into it for you, because it's not just because you could party just as hard as the other guys. You could be a competent, accomplished player. That's why they called you. Because in my opinion, you've always just been up there, like I said, a great player and a great guy, and a partier too. So that's part of the Holy Trinity. Really, if you could do all three, then you're probably going to get a call every time, right?
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. I've been very blessed like that to get that call one after another. The biggest one was we're in Newfoundland and we're Rhiannon, and the band fell apart in Newfoundland. And I phoned my girlfriend then, my soon-to-be wife, Bonnie, like, this is done. I'm done with the music industry. I've had it. This is it. Just fly me home. Like, you're broke. You got nowhere to go. You're in Newfoundland. I got on a plane, flew back to Halifax, went to Ontario for a week just to think things over. No cell phones and all that then, no texting and all. And I get back from Ontario and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And I have all these messages, and it's from the Sam Moon band. And getting a call to join Sam Moon and replace, oh my God, Pat Riley. Like, are you freaking kidding me? So here I am trying to get my slap stuff together. Never played slap before in my life. And just ended up playing with Sam for like years after that. So had some big shoes to fill, and God bless Pat. I've had some great times with Pat. Pat was usually there at Summer Rock. So we talk about that every time we get together. I'd come back and I'd say, you bastard. I had to come back and fill those shoes. But I learned quick enough, and from the experience of doing the other band things, that I couldn't be Pat. There was only one Pat. I had to be me. So I went out and thank you, Dave, again. But I work hard. I worked hard at all those years that I had, and different tunes that I had to learn, and different styles. And I worked at it, and God bless that I had the opportunity to be the bottom end of a lot of these bands that were around at the time, and just steadily worked through those 30 years. So yeah, thank you, Dave. I appreciate that.
So, well, you mentioned you're teaching now, and I'd like to touch on that for a little bit, because I think it's a really addition to what you're doing now versus all the other things. So when you were with 40 Fingers and you kind of decided, that was it, was that maybe starting to impact your career that you're obviously been going full bore in for a while? Was it just getting too much to be out late, that type of thing, or? Yeah,
exactly. It was when I was getting my teaching degree, when I first joined 40 Fingers, we'd be playing, say, Cheers. And we'd go on break, and I'd be out in my vehicle, and I'd be typing up my assignment for the next morning at Acadia. So I'm typing it up and I send it and I finish it. And by then we're getting ready or just finished last set, and it'd be like 2:30, 3:30 in the morning. So I would send it off and I'd go home and it would be like, okay, take a shower, put on the coffee, and either it was my turn to drive to Acadia or I was being picked up and we were meeting to go to Acadia. And I'd drive to Acadia and we'd be talking about the assignments and I'd hear, William Dobson, what, you turned this in at 3:30 this morning? And I said, yeah, I was just getting off work. And this is like an 8 o'clock class in the morning. So yeah, it was something that I always loved to do from the days at Summer Rock and teaching. And it just sort of morphed into this. And honestly, Sean and Dave, it's what's been giving me the buzz the last 10 and 12 years, going to and teaching every day and making these connections with these kids. And it was funny. I told my wife, Bonnie, they're going through a lot of hard times right now. A lot of the kids that I taught, they're either graduating this year. I taught them like 3 or 4 years ago. And they're still texting Mr. Dobson or Snapchatting me or Instagramming me and wanting to know how I'm doing, or they're having a problem dealing with this and they want to talk to the other one. The classic one the other day was, I need some Mr. Dobson wisdom. Yeah. So the teaching thing the last 10 or 12 years has been my main focus and buzz that I get. And I just absolutely love it every morning, getting up and going to work.
That's
Well,
so
I think-
awesome, Willie. God, that makes my heart happy that you had such a passion for that. It really does. I mean that.
Yeah. You never work. My father-in-law, he said, you'll never work a day in your life if you find something that you love. And I haven't worked yet. Like I just love what I do every day. So
Well,
very lucky.
interesting that guys like yourself and Dave Robert kind of both chose that path. Dave's
Yeah.
a super cool guy out in the Eastern Shore. Like everybody that I know that knows him as a teacher, and they don't know him as Dave Roberts, should have been a friggin' absolute star. They all say what a great guy he is, how engaged he is with the kids. And it's funny because I think everybody remembers one teacher that kind of got them through school. I certainly do. And I would, it's going to be Mr. Dobson and Mr. Roberts at HRCE.
Yes, man. Yeah. Yeah. It's, we're very blessed to be able to do that. Yeah.
That's true. No, that makes it hurt. That's good.
Well, here's what we could do, Willie, while we're, and obviously you might not want to single people out or individuals out, but if there's somebody you want to give a shout out to that's going to be watching this, because we are in 11 countries and 22 cities and whatnot, so we're getting some coverage. So some people that you might want to say, a little shout out to, who might they be?
Oh my God, you're putting the spot on me here. I'd have to mention some Bruce Chapman for sure. I'd make it so responsible for, it's his fault where I ended up being today. Steve Mustaine was a guy that worked at the conservatory years ago. And he would come in and he sat in on a couple of my adult classes that I was teaching. And he would say, hey, it's really great what you're doing, explaining the theory and all this, but they just want to learn that buzz that you're experience, that you and me experience every day from teaching. And he said, don't worry about the theory part of it. Just give them that buzz. And I was like, yeah, man. And I took that advice, and every adult class I taught, every young adult class I taught, just to give them that buzz. They can worry about the theory later. Just give them that buzz that you and like you two and myself take for granted when we play, that buzz of playing music. Great drummers that I played with. Oh my God, Doug McKay for short. Rob Smith, love playing with Rob Smith. My family that always stuck behind me. My brother, Eddie Dobson, he was a keyboard player singer in a group. They were called the Bushmen. And this is such a vivid memory. They had a hearse that used to carry their gear in, and a big black hearse that carried coffins. But it was for loading gear because you could take the PA and just throw it in the back, and there was wheels. So the gear would go in and out. And I remember being parked in front of our house, a big black hearse with the Bushman on the side. He gave me such a music education. My brother, he listened to so many different stuff, from like Black Sabbath to the Eagles to Average White Band. Like, he gave me such an early education in music and what to listen to, different styles. he was a keyboard player, and plus the band used to rehearse in our house. So I remember sneaking in, and they would leave, and I'd go and I'd go their gear, and I remembered the smell of like the bass amp or like the Fender, the Gary, I mean, not you, and I was hooked from then on, right? So that's about it. God, I know I'm leaving people out because, yeah, that's kind of you kind of caught me off guard there. There's so many people.
Wasn't designed to put you on the spot, but I mean, I just, for me, it's interesting because like I forget how many different people you played with, and again, like I say, love drama, but Gorilla for me, I used to arrive early and stay late when you guys used to play the horse. No shit.
Fun band, man.
Not in my pocket, but I always somehow managed to drink a few beer and get a cab ride home.
Awesome, thank you, Sean.
Well, yeah, we're just about out of time. Listen, really, to me, it's just a treat because you're my favorite people on earth, not just players. But if I give you a deal on one of these cups, these mugs, perhaps you can get me a deal on some bass lessons. How's that? Is that a deal?
Done deal, man. Done
yes.
Deal.
Fucking yes! I love this fucking job.
You can come over to my music. You can come to my music. I have it all set up, and I have a fridge too.
Oh, good now.
Willie,
the all important stock fridge
project. Hey, ask who comes going to be a project.
Yeah. We'll talk. We're gonna do. Hey, there's shirts. Just saying.
Yeah.
I want some, man. I'm going to go to the merch thing, and I need some of that.
Awesome.
And again,
last question for you, Willie, and it pertains to teaching kids. And I think I know what the answer is going to be, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How do you find? Because you've been teaching how long now?
30 plus years.
Okay, so I'll take within the last 10 years. How is teaching kids the last 10 years different than it was, before that?
Oh, night and day, man. Night and day. We're not only teachers now. We have to be friends. We have to be psychologists. We have to watch out for kids' well-being. There's so much more to deal with now that these kids are dealing with. It's like being in the room and juggling. A lot of kids have different learning, and that's fine, right? But they have different ways that they learn. There's adaptations. There's special needs kids in your classroom. We have great supports with EPAs, like all kinds of people that come in and help you. But there is so much more to deal with now in teaching kids. And the big hook is to get them interested and, try to hook them in some way. If you have to walk around with your guitar in the classroom and maybe sing a silly song about something you're studying in, I don't know, sociology or social studies that I teach, then do that. And they remember that. So I write silly songs every day for my kids. So
that's awesome.
Just so what they're going to here's what we're learning today. And they go, guys, nuts. But they remember what we're going to be doing that day.
I can tell you straight up, that should be a PSA for teaching and I don't want to paint everybody with the same brush, but I've talked to teachers who don't have that attitude, because it's like I coached hockey for a number of years, and I know that every kid does not react to yelling and screaming like we were, right? Every kid
learns different.
Right, and their own little personality. You got to figure out how to adapt your style to get them to do what you need them to do, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for that answer. That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
And like with Dave too, when I talk to other teachers, I say I do 6 shows a day. We're up there, we got 6 classes to teach, and we do 6 shows a day. Hey, let's go, and this is my spiel, and away we go.
What's your rider list look like now? you get 40-minute breaks, and you get all the water you can drink and coffee made from Folgers. Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's part of the deal. Hey, if you're going to be late, large double and a Boston cream donut.
There you go.
I love it. Willie, listen, it's just our absolute pleasure to have you on here. Like I said, I've worked 3 weeks hard to get you on here, but I knew it was going to be worth it. And you just, again, you wait and see. There'll be so many more comments that will come after your interview. And please feel free to chime in. Don't feel bad if you forgot somebody, because we always put people on the spot that way. We don't mean to, but it's like there's a lot of things you want to say after the fact. Listen, it was a treat. You did so well. I'm so glad you were on here. A big shout out to Marnie, by the way. Marnie and Willie spent a lot of time working through the Zoom stuff.
Yes.
So thank you, Marnie, by the way.
Yeah.
She's a great girl.
Yeah.
But listen, thanks so much for being on here. please come back and answer any questions that people have there, because they're going to have some questions for you, I guarantee.
Anytime, guys. And again, what you're doing is absolutely awesome. Love you both for doing this. It brings
Thanks.
a smile to my face and a lot of other people too. Just keep doing what you're doing.
And you know what? When everything opens up, we got to get together for a beer, because it's been a long time since I've seen you, man. I keep hearing about you, but so we'll need to get out. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's why I love that guy. Hey, I'm coming over for bass lessons, so I'll be there in about 10 minutes.
And my fridge is stocked, so we're good.
Yes.
Right on.
All right. Well, thanks so much,
Bubble
brother.
Thank you, guys.
Peace
See
out,
you guys.
guys.
Love.
All right.
Keep
Take
doing
care.
what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Barstools, Bandtalk, the complete metal music bucket list.